This is the Poly Art Museum.
Rongsheng Chime Bells, Western Zhou Dynasty, 1046 BC to 771 BC. This set of chime bells is made by the aristocrat Rongsheng, acclaimed by experts as treasure of the state. There are disagreements among experts on which year this set of chime bells belong to. Professor Ma Chengyuan, the former curator of Shanghai Museum, and some other experts believe it belongs to mid-Western Zhou Dynasty and is the earliest set of 8-bell chime bells in China's known years. Some experts also believe it belongs to late Western Zhou Dynasty, 1046 BC to 771 BC, while some experts believe it belongs to the early years of spring and autumn period, 770 BC to 476 BC. There are inscriptions inscribed on each bell of the chime bells, which can be read through from the large ones to the small ones, a total of 155 characters. These inscriptions describe how the 3 generations of Rongsheng assisted the king of the Zhou dynasty. Some content corroborates with the literature, which are of great historical value. This set of chime bells was once put into use, so that all the bells have been tuned and still hold quite beautiful timbre by now, which is of significant reference value for the study of Chinese music history. There is a dual-tone logo, the round spiral lines, on the lower left bottom of each smaller 6-bell. Knocks the center of bell's bottom and the round spiral lines, you can get 2 different tones.
Yeah, that's what I've always heard about these are two-tonal.
Chime ball bells with punchy patterns. Spring and autumn period, 770 BC to 476 BC. These 4 pieces of music instruments belong to another kind of bells. Their bell mouths are flat and even, and they were then known as ball bells. Ball bells, which stand for large bells, together with chime bells and stones, are the rhythmic musical instruments in conducting the band. Knobs on this set of ball bells are quite vivid in the shape of 2 beasts facing each other. Different kinds of patterns, including fine punchy pattern, double-body dragon pattern, cloud pattern, pots, and the rhombus design are casted on the body. These patterns are quite fine and detailed. For example, the fronts of the dragon pattern are very clear and vivid. Thus, this piece of ball bells are of high artistic value.
Bow. It's hard to know what the difference between the different styles are. And they're subtle. Bow and Zhang. Is it Zhang? Rongsheng.
Drum pedestal with interlaced punchy pattern. Spring and autumn period, 770 to 476 BC. The bizarrely shaped bronze vessel is like a large upside-down crucible. However, with a round pipe on its top through up and down, the vessel was used as a drum pedestal. On inspection, the interlaced punchy design on the vessel's body is unexpectedly the same as that on the clay mold excavated in the bronze casting site of the Jin state in Homa, Shanxi Province, which demonstrates that the vessel was used as an all-leg drum pedestal in the state of Jing in late spring and autumn period. In ancient China, bell referred to chime bells, and drum referred to jian drum, which formed a complete set to play all-leg music. Such a jian drum pedestal appears in the pictures of social life inlaid on the bronze hull vessel collected in the Poly Art Museum. This bronze drum pedestal is the only one of its kind discovered in the Central Plains, and hence exceedingly precious. Large tin patterned with folded dragons. Spring and autumn period, 770 to 476 BC. This tin said to have been excavated in the tomb of Marcus Ling of the Xu state in the late spring and autumn period in Ye County, Pingdingshan, Henan Province, was one of the set of 7 Lieh tin wares buried with the deceased. Imposing and magnificent, this tin bears a full height of 63 centimeters and a full width of 79 centimeters. On its outside wall, the vessel is inlaid with 6 strange monster-shaped handles, and the monsters are holding up their big ears and rolling up their big tails. The tin is adorned with a fine neat pattern of interlaced dragons around its rim, drooping petals all around in its belly, and a design of interlaced dragons inside its body. Different from the other large tin vessels, with relatively simple workmanship and decoration discovered to date, this large tin bears a most exquisite adornment overall, with a comprehensive decorative pattern and an animal-faced sign in its bottom. As a ritual vessel used by the marquis of a certain state in the spring and autumn period, it is both a bronze ritual vessel of the highest level ever known in the spring and autumn period, and the most gigantic and exquisite bronze tin of that period discovered to date. It serves to be a masterpiece of bronze art in spring and autumn period. Pot with double dragon-shaped handles and dish-shaped mouth, Tang Dynasty, 618 to 907. The bronze pot of Tang Dynasty bears a distinct artistic style of the region of Central Asia and West Asia, probably as a result of the learning of Chinese craftsmen from the artists of the ancient Persia, namely the region of Iran today. A pair of dragon-shaped handles extends from the shoulder to the rim of the bronze pot in a slender and elegant shape. With their bodies in the form of the letter S, the dragons are vividly stretching their hands into the belly of the pot on tiptoe, as if preparing to drink the nectar in the pot. Similar pots that have been discovered until now are mostly in porcelain, and the tricolored glaze pottery of the Tang Dynasty, while those in bronze are exceedingly rare. Canopy Gong Mao in the shape of dragon head, Han Dynasty, 206 BC to 220 AD. This vessel of early Western Han Dynasty is a Gong Mao of an ancient canopy or curtain. The whole body of the vessel is in the shape of a dragon in the form of the letter S. The hollow dragon body can be stuck with canopy ribs, and the barb designed on the body is used as a hook of the fabric of canopy surface. With gilding on its whole body, the vessel bears magnificent hue and superb craftsmanship of sculpture, its body rising up like flying, its double ears upright obliquely, and its two eyes open widely. The ferocious dragon with a cavernous mouth and sharp teeth is just like a king cobra, which is preparing for an attack. The tombs of Han Dynasty excavated to date are numerous. So are the four-end ornaments of canopy ribs of this kind, namely the canopy Gong Mao. However, this Gong Mao is the most splendid and exquisite one of its kind. Experts praise it as the dragon of the highest artistic quality in Han Dynasty that have been discovered to date, and estimate that it used to belong to the aristocracy of the highest level in Han Dynasty, even to an emperor. Indeed, it is considered by some scholars to be excavated from the Yangling Mausoleum, tomb of the Emperor Jin of the Western Han Dynasty, and to have been the ornament on the canopy of the emperor. Engraved with 5 thread-like words of the 13th in the West in official script on the dragon body, this Gong Mao was the 13th one, counted from the west of the 28 ribs, symbols of the 28 constellations of the emperor's canopy, the numerical digits engraved on which were provided against mistakes in the assembly and disassembly of the canopy.
They said Yingling. Is it the Han tombs or the Ming tombs that are over by Badaling Great Wall?
Rabbit-shaped Zun, Western Zhou Dynasty, 1046 BC to 771 BC. This piece of rabbit-shaped Zun, dating back to Western Zhou Dynasty about 2900 years ago, is the earliest and the only one in rabbit shape. The rabbit is very lifelike with 3-petal hair lip, 4 sets of hoof, 2 big ears throwing up, and a short tail going down. On its back, there is another little rabbit as a button on the lid. Despite its small size, the nose and eyes are still very clear and lively. Taking it and the standing rabbit together, a vivid picture is presented as if a rabbit quietly lying in the grass to have a rest was suddenly waken up by thump of hoofs and sounds of the bow and arrow, and then she instinctively stood up and alertly looked around, being ready to escape at any time. Such artistic conception is quite ingenious. There are 13 characters in 2 lines on the lid's inner surface, indicating that it was caused by an aristocrat called Jian of that time. Jian made this ritual vessel in honor of his reward of a utensil for adjusting bows from another aristocrat Feng ordered by the king of Zhou Dynasty.
You can see the inspiration for Transformers here. Looks like the Decepticon mask. Square Yi with animal patterns, wine container, Shang Dynasty.
Xianjia, Shang Dynasty, 17th century BC to 11th century BC. This bronze jia of 45 cm height, dating back to the late Shang Dynasty, belongs to the large bronze ones of Shang Dynasty that survive in small quantity, With 3 high T-shaped feet, its shape is of great elegance. Its decorations are quite typical of bronze wares at that time, such as beast face patterns and banana leaf patterns on the outer wall. There is an inscription of Xian on its bottom, indicating that it is also a piece of relics of the Xian family of Shang Dynasty, like Xian Fangyi, preserved by the Poly Art Museum. The Xian family used to be a large family in Shang Dynasty, who were active in the southwest areas of Shanxi province, with Fushan as the center. Xian Fangyi, a wine vessel, Shang Dynasty, 17th century BC to 11th century BC. Fangyi is a palace house-shaped ritual vessel that is rectangular from the plan view with a roof-shaped top, a bucket-shaped body in the middle, and a square ring foot. The bronze Fangyi that appeared in the late Shang Dynasty and gradually disappeared in mid-Western Zhou Dynasty are quite rare in the world. This piece of Fangyi is especially rare, with only 3 or 4 pieces in the world in such a style of straight walls without the decoration of fei leng or outstanding side flakes. This piece of Fangyi of Shang Dynasty has a small body of a height of 18.2 centimeters, but its workmanship is quite exquisite. The main pattern of its cover and body is beast face pattern with cloud thunder patterns as background. What's more, there are patterns such as dragon patterns, cicada patterns, and other patterns around the beast face pattern on the body. All these decorations are exquisite. There is an inscription of Xian on the inner wall of its cover and body, indicating that it is a piece of relics of the Xian family of Shang Dynasty. The Xian family used to be a large family in Shang Dynasty, who were active in the southwest areas of Shanxi province, with Fushan County as the center. Yong Square Ding, Shang Dynasty, 17th century BC to 11th century BC. The square ding of late Shang Dynasty is preserved intact in sophisticated cast. There is a double-body snake pattern, which was called Fei Yi in ancient Chinese myth, decorated around each rim of the body, and the left, right, and bottom parts are respectively decorated with a strip of nipple pattern. There are inscriptions on 2 parts of the ding, one of which is on the wall, including 37 characters of 6 lines with the following meaning. On a Yi Wei day, the King Zhou of Shang Dynasty presented his father, King Yi, a wrong sacrifice. King Zhou departed from Guan, now Zhengzhou in Henan province, for worship activities, and on his returning, King Zhou came to this city again and granted shell money to Yong. Then, in the name of his father Ding, Yong made this precious bronze ritual vessel. All this happened in the 5th month of the 22nd year of King Zhou. There is a fish-shaped family emblem on the inner bottom of this ding. According to the inscriptions, this piece of square ding was made by Yong, one aristocrat of Shang Dynasty, in the 22nd year of King Zhou. 37 characters made up this inscription, which is a quite rare long one in Shang Dynasty. What's more, its content mentioned King Zhou and his father, King Di of Shang Dynasty. Wen Wu Di was first mentioned on the Si Iqiyou, a wine container preserved in the Palace Museum in Beijing, and this is the second time that it was shown on inscriptions of Shang bronzes, which fully proves the existence of the Shang King Di, settling a long-standing debate on his existence among historians. More importantly, the inscription gives a detailed account of the year, month, and the date of Rome's sacrifice of King Zhou's reign, according to which people can make a supplementary schedule of the calendar spectrum of sacrifices in the Shang Dynasty. Only few wares including 24174417and 6417wares that preserved in the Palace Museum, and Zaijiao, now collected in the Itsumiya Museum in Japan, have the similar rankings. Bronze shovel with a sheep head ornament, Shang Dynasty, 17th century BC to 11th century BC. This piece of bronze shovel of late Shang Dynasty should come from a large aristocratic tomb in the border area between Shanxi and the Shanxi province. It features a sturdy body which is well preserved without any damage. It has a special shape with a semicircular shovel and a strip-like handle, different from those of the previously found fire shovels. There is a sheep head with its big horn rotating forward and lifting on the top end. The handle is decorated with dragon eye patterns, and the part which is close to the shovel is decorated with cow head patterns. This piece of bronze shovel is currently the only one producing tool of the Shang Dynasty that was made of bronze. However, as analyzed by experts from its shape, preservation, and other aspects, it was not practical and may be used for some kind of ceremonial activities. Baigan Qi Xu, Western Zhou Dynasty, 1046 BC to 771 BC. Xu was a special kind of ware used by people of Zhou Dynasty to hold such food as rice. According to studies, Xu was invented at around the mid-Western Zhou Dynasty, prevalent at late Western Zhou, and gradually disappeared in the early years of Spring and Autumn period. This piece of Baigan Qi Xu of mid-Western Zhou Dynasty is one of the earliest bronze Xu found by now. That it is of great significance for people to study the origin of Xu, which had a short lifetime as a kind of bronze sacrificial vessel. This piece of Xu is in a rectangular groove shape, with one animal head-shaped loop on both sides and 4 flat feet. The surface of lid was slightly raised with a loop button in the middle to lift easily. What's more, there were 4 skillfully designed flat buttons on the lid surface, and that it can be used as a plate to hold the food when put upside down. There are inscriptions both on its lid and the inner wall of its belly, that is, 18 characters in 3 lines on the lid and 12 characters in 3 lines on the inner wall. The inscriptions both clearly indicate that it is a kind of gui. Through the inscriptions and other findings, after the expert's research, it can be asserted that Xu definitely developed from gui. Another special point of this pair of shoes is that the inside surface only rusted a little, since the lid and the rectangular groove buckled very tightly. The right corner of one shoe has gone through even no erosion, and still glitters like the original one as it was firstly made.
Hongui Western Joe. When you combine the circular and the square together, it's called a song or Kong. I think the C is like a TS, song. Usually the songs you see are jade tubes, circular on the inside, square on the outside. Bat head. Get that one. 46.
Chariot-shaped bronze cassette, Western Zhou Dynasty, 1046 BC to 771 BC. This small and exquisite bronze cassette, made in Western Zhou Dynasty, may be an appliance used to contain valuable things by aristocrats in Jin State. And up to now, only few pieces of such cassette have found in Quwo and Wenxi in Shanxi province. 4 wheels are fixed to the bottom of the bronze cassette, making it in a chariot shape. The 4 edges of its body are decorated with a gui dragon with its head turning around. As for the walls, they are decorated with a wave strip pattern, and at each flank of the box there is a loop used to pull along. Looking at the lid, each corner stands a head-raised and wing-spread bird, which can be rotated arbitrarily and flexibly, and there are 2 doors in the middle that can be opened and closed by the 2 handles, of which one is in the shape of a squatting man and the other of a sitting ape. Despite its small size, the bronze cassette is of great ingenuity with unique shape and novel design. The especially intelligent design is that all the 4 birds on the lid, the 4 wheels at the bottom, and the 2 doors can be turned around freely. Li Gui, Western Zhou Dynasty, 1046 BC to 771 BC. It is not surprising to see a pair of handles on the bronze gui of the Shang and Zhou dynasties, but one with 4 handles is quite rare. Dating back 3,000 years, this Li Gui casted in the early Western Zhou dynasty is such a rare piece with 4 handles. There is respectively a handle in the shape of an arching inwardly dragon-shaped beast around 4 sides of frame and the belly. Different from the handles seen on other bronze guiwares, the handles of this piece are special in shape. There is a small part protruding under the dragon-shaped beast that forms a rectangular hanging earring decorated with phoenix patterns. Such kind of gui is extremely rare, and currently there are less than 10 pieces of gui with 4 handles collected in the world. The decoration of Li Gui is simple but wonderful. There is a circle of spiral lines around the neck and large animal face-shaped patterns on the foot, all of which are raised high, clear and beautiful. There is the following inscription on the inner bottom as Ya Yu Li Zuo Fu Yi Yi, indicating this is a bronze ritual vessel made by the aristocrat Ya Yu for his father Yi. Wang Zuo Zuo Shou Ding, Western Zhou Dynasty, 1046 to 771 BC. This large ding in late Western Zhou Dynasty bears a 6-character inscription of Wang Zuo Jiang Yi Zuo Shou on the inside wall of its body, which demonstrates the vessel's special use for ritual sacrifices by Zhou King. The ding, with a full height of 41.5 centimeters, is shaped majestically. On the outside wall of its body, the ding bears a design of 12 large phoenix, looking back and rolling up their tails, below which is a design of dense cirrus cloud towards the bottom. In view of its shape and decoration, the ding is considered by experts to have belonged to King Gong in the mid-Western Zhou Dynasty, or the later King Yi or King Li of Zhou. In spite of an exploration of almost 100 years, the archaeologists have never discovered any trace of the tombs of Western Zhou kings. Besides, the number of the bronze vessels which have been identified as the belongings of Zhou kings and preserved to date is merely 6 or 7. Therefore, as the only ding of the vessels, it is extremely rare and precious. The ding was collected in the Poly Art Museum in late December of 1999. At that time, the experts of the museum discovered it in an antique shop in Hong Kong by coincidence. The vessel then was covered with a layer of great rust both inside and outside, and several stretchers for a vein searched for inscriptions in its inside bottom. Thanks to their knowledge that inscriptions tend to be on the inside wall rather than in the bottom, the experts changed their focus to the inside wall of the ding's body. Unexpectedly, they discovered 2 faint horizontal lines under the rust near the rim of the vessel, which bore a close resemblance to the character of Wang or King. Then the experts maintained their composure and offered to the owner to bring the ding back to Beijing. The ding was sent to be X-rayed in the unit concerned as soon as it arrived in Beijing, and the result of the examination confirmed the experts' guess of the existence of inscriptions under the green rust on the inside wall of the vessel's body. After the removal of the rust, the bronze ding's inscriptions concealed for many years were finally in full view, and a new important archaeological discovery of Chinese cultural relics was made by this coincidence. Phoenix-shaped He, Western Zhou Dynasty, 1046 BC to 771 BC. There was a kind of head-washing rite for aristocrats in Shang and Zhou dynasties. When people washed their heads in ceremonies, a bronze he would be used to pour the water from the top down, and then the water would drop into the pan plate. He and pan would constitute a full set of necessary utensils to carry out the hand-washing rite. This bronze he, made in late Western Zhou dynasty, is a kind of rarely seen flat-shaped he, with a whole height of 44.5 centimeters. It is the largest ancient bronze he so far. What's more, Its complicated workmanship makes it of high historic and artistic value. Its decorations are extremely complex and splendid, with a large phoenix lying on the top lid, two wings lifting upward. On the top of the phoenix, there is another little bird with a crooked beak, which is seized by a head-turned and tail-curled tiger. The forelegs and the hind legs of this tiger cross with each other, forming a circuit. A pin through the circuit skillfully connects the lid and the handle below together, making it move up and down very flexibly. Such design is of great ingenuity.
You can see there where it moves.
Guangbo You, late Shang Dynasty and the beginning of Zhou Dynasty. You, a ewer with a hoop handle, is a noble bronze ritual vessel used to contain wine in ancient worship activities, and its craftsmanship is usually very gorgeous and delicate. There is respectively a word frame on the lid and the inner bottom with an inscription of 14 characters in 2 lines, showing that it was made by a marquis of the Gang state at the end of Shang Dynasty and the beginning of Zhou Dynasty, dating back 3,000 years. The lid looks like a small dome tent, whose button on the center consists of 6 inverted cicada. Both sides of the neck part are decorated with a ring handle, and a dragon head-shaped hoop handle is installed in the inner. The shape of dragon head on the hoop handle is very peculiar, with its muzzle protruding and 2 palm-shaped horns inserted on which respectively holds an eye in the center, indicating the effect of clairvoyant. As for the patterns, both the lid and the belly are decorated with highly racing large animal face patterns, under which are the fine cloud thunder patterns. All the patterns from top to bottom are scattered on as much as 3 layers. Although all the patterns are densely connected, the lines are clear, vivid, and well structured, showing extremely high craftsmanship. Among all the known bronze jewelwares of the Shang and Zhou dynasties, this piece is one of the largest and most refined items. Wangzuo Jiangshi Gui, Western Zhou Dynasty, 1046 BC to 771 BC. Both on the lid and the inner bottom of this bronze gui, there are same 6-character inscription, Wangzuo Jiangshi Bao Gui. This indicates that this bronze gui was made by one king of Zhou dynasty for his queen, whose surname was Jiang, and it is one of the rarest imperial bronze utensils found up to now. The shape, structure, emblazonry, and inscriptions of this gui are all the same as those of one unearthed in Zhouzhi in Shanxi province in 1974, which means that they maybe belong to the same set. Zun, Western Zhou Dynasty, 1046 BC to 771 BC. There is an inscription of 8 characters on the inner bottom of this bronze Zun of early Western Zhou Dynasty, indicating this was made by an aristocrat called Si of the Western Zhou Dynasty. The Zun vessel is a shape of goblet with 4 white fei lung, a kind of raised decoration like ridge, equally distributed around the body. As for the patterns, it is decorated with pattern bands of banana leaf patterns, straight ridge patterns, phoenix patterns, and so on. Among all the patterns, the phoenix pattern on the belly works as the theme. The decorative phoenix stands out with a high cone stretching out just like the sun. Such piece of Zun with complex, luxurious, fine, and quite distinctive decorations is fairly rare. Hao Zhongyou, Western Zhou Dynasty, 1046 BC to 771 BC. A large quantity of bronze you of Shang and Zhou dynasties have been known, but in terms of the cross-sections of the ware's belly, almost all of them are in the shape of ellipse. Those with a square ellipse cross-section are extremely rare, one of which is this Hao Zhongyou of early Western Zhou dynasty. Different kinds of patterns cover almost all the surface. Even the invisible inside bottom is decorated with 4 groups of Kui dragon pattern that are extremely complicated. The center of the lip top is a mushroom-shaped button consisting of 4 cicadas. Both sides of the neck part are decorated with a ring button, and a dragon head-shaped hoop handle is installed in the bottom. The dragon head with horns stretches out greatly in a quite exaggerated style. As for the patterns, animal mask patterns are the main pattern, with 1 dragon-shaped and 1 phoenix-shaped pattern on each side, all using the cloud thunder pattern as supporting and connecting patterns. As for the mouth and the ring foot, there are brands of dragon-shaped patterns. This piece of you is uniquely shaped, exquisitely crafted, and very distinctive. Thus, it is acclaimed by experts as the exquisite and rare one of all the bronze hue wares in the Western Zhou dynasty. There is an inscription of 6 characters arranged in 2 lines both on the lid and bottom, reading Hao Zhong Zuo Bao Zun Yi, through which we can tell it was made by an aristocrat called Hao Zhong of the Western Zhou dynasty.
Gong with animal patterns, wine container, Shang dynasty. Looks like he's smiling. Let's see. Did all these. Did 47, right? Wang Zhu, Zhu Zheng. I think we did this one already.
Wang Zuo Jiang Shi Gui, Western Zhou dynasty, 1046 BC to 771 BC. Both on the lid and the inner bottom of this bronze gui, there are same 6 character inscription, Wang Zuo Jiang Shi Bao Gui. This indicates that this bronze gui was made by one king of Zhou dynasty for his queen, whose surname was Jiang,
There
and
that
it is
one.
one of the rarest imperial bronze utensils found up to now. The shape
Bronze vessel terminology. Food vessels up here, you got ding ding yan. Food preparation, presentation vessels. Gui, 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 shun, shu, fu, du, pen, due, dui. Wine vessels, jue, gu, xia. Wine storage vessels, li, sun, yu, zun, jun, fu, hu, fang, pei, pi. Wine warmer, jun, gulu. These are all ones in their collection too, I think. Water vessels, pu, pan, yi, he, guam, fu. Musical instruments, niao, jiang, bow, and drum stand. Weapons, axe, spear, pie type spear. Sword, crossbow holder, helmet. Miscellaneous mirror, cosmetic casket, lamp, incense burner, canopy fitting. I guess I'm supposed to look at these through the other side of the exhibit. This is Buddhist sculpture. Start a new video.